Hey, record loving friends. This is Brian from Tokyou Record Style. It is October 7th. Officially, the weekend is here, and hope everybody had a nice week. I am firing up the old YouTube to report on some encounters that I made this week and to talk about a few goals that I have for the next chapter of Tokyou Record Style, and to invite you to come be a part of this ongoing journey. This sound that you hear behind me, this is my actually piano bench. This big blue, under this big beautiful blue blanket behind me, is a Yamaha upright piano, which we love in my family. Everybody plays it. And on top of it is my Nipper and my Technics 1200 and my CAF LS50s wireless and my Soundburger and my other gizmos, DAC, phono, preamp, and so on. So yeah, if you hear this wiggling around, it's my piano bench. I think it needs a little oil. So this morning started out really weird. I was editing some photos. I was editing a guy I shot last week who had Primal Scream's debut record. Now, I know Primal Scream by name, but I don't really know their music. Somehow they've evaded me my whole life. Despite knowing their name, I've somehow have never really come to know their music. I listened to the first record today, and it reminded me of my dear old buddy Mike Hamill, who I lost tragically a few years ago. And I thought to myself, wow, these guys sound like so many people got their inspiration from this band Primal Scream. Radiohead, the Gomez, Coldplay, and Oasis. And I thought, oh my God, I should have known this band forever ago. I'm sure my friend Mike would know it. And when I thought about Mike, it reminded me of a mutual friend we had who I reached out to, and bizarrely, I remembered in this moment that I had a dream about Mike last night, he came back for a night, and somehow we hung out, and I got to connect with my other friend Pablo over this. And in that encounter, I managed to remind Pablo that the wake memorial service of another mutual friend of ours was also happening in an hour's time in Boulder, where he lives and where I used to live, and suggested that if it was near him and he was in town, he might consider to go if he didn't already know about it. Following that conversation, I got on this online Zoom of a wake today of my dear friend, old buddy, my dear friend Peter Underhill of the legendary Dots Diner in Boulder, Colorado. We lost Peter this year. Today was his wake, and we heard a lot of great memorial tributes to him. And one of the cool things that we heard was a Rolling Stones tribute. Now, Peter was famously a very quirky guy. He was the leader of this big misfit crew of counterculture, literally a band of weirdos. And he loved the Stones. He was a diehard Stones fan. And in 1997, the Stones were just not in a particular phase of making lots of new fans. I don't think their records are particularly loved in that era or whatever. They just had a little gap, couple years. But Peter took me to the Stones. He insisted I go see the Stones, and I'm so grateful for that. I may have never seen the Stones if it weren't for his insistence and actually generosity. He paid for me to go to the show. We sat up in the 300s, but where everybody was sitting, but my buddy, this diehard Stones fan, was dancing, the entire show. And, I had to dance there with him. So there's a video of the Stones playing Denver, and there's two lone guys dancing way up in the rafters. It's me and my friend Peter. There was a Nepalese connection to Peter. Peter employed a big Nepalese community, and that Nepalese community is what brought me over to Asia, and how I ended up in Japan. During their little tribute moment in the memorial service, they played a tablas, like sitar style instrument version of Miss You, of the Rolling Stones' Miss You, which is on Some Girls. And I'm sure my friend Peter loved this record. I think this may have been my first Stones record. And this one's really cool because it has, it's quite colorful and iconic, and it's got all the boys, the Bill Wyman era, and it's got Ronnie. Is that Ronnie? It might even be Ronnie. Did Ronnie and Bill play it? Yeah, they must have. And Charlie and Mick and Keith, and they're all dressed up as girls, and They're in this sort of like, salon magazine, Sears sort of catalog sales thing. It's a really cool album. And they played, the little ensemble that played at the memorial service today played a topless version of Miss You, which was really, really cool. And my copy is quite cool because it says Amoeba Records clearance $1 for some girls. So rest in peace, Peter. Something else I did today was I went to my buddy Eiichi's house tonight, Eiichi Miyamoto, and I just wanted to give a shout out to Eiichi. Eiichi designed this t-shirt and also this can badge on my jean jacket. There's the yellow submarine. There's Eiichi Miyamoto. I've got my Taro Okamoto and my piece from Marcel in Czech Republic, and that's Cici for my friend Cici, who I also lost. But anyway, I wanted to give a shout out to Eiichi because Eiichi is kind of like a mentor to me. This guy has sort of taught me everything I know about big cameras, about conceptualizing projects, about keeping true to myself, and really been a big inspiration. He, I will say, reluctantly declined to be the godfather of one of my kids, but he's a really important person in my life, Miyamoto Eiichi, and he's got a shop in Tsukiji. It's like a gallery, record store, experimental t-shirt, awesome place that I want a coffee in Tsukiji called Scart. I really recommend you go check out Scart Gallery. I'll leave a link in the description. I also want to say that Instagram is going really cool. I got some really interesting posts coming up. The next 4 or 5 people who are going to be featured on both Instagram and the webpage are really cool pictures. They've got really vibrant people. So I encourage you to please go follow me on Instagram if you're not already, Tokyou Record Style. I'm trying to get 100 subscribers a month in my first year. And I'm close, but I need a little help. So if you aren't already following me, please go follow Tokyou Record Style on Instagram, and please share it with a couple of people so that I can hit 1,200 by November 25th-ish. So then I just wanted to say that Top 5 Records is my monthly talk show event where we play records and host a talk show element where we count down our top 5 records on various themes. You've heard me talk about it here already. And I like to take pictures during the event while I'm also DJing and giving presentations and just trying to keep the whole thing going. But I like to recap the event on the website and on Instagram and just show you what happened. And I like to also recap all the presenters' top 5 records. And so if you go to the post, you'll see a few dozen pictures and a recap of everybody's top 5. And what's really cool, really cool, and something that I've been wanting to do, but I actually haven't solicited anybody to do it yet, but it happened automatically, is that somebody wrote their top 5 on the theme of The Color of Music, which was this last episode's theme. They wrote their top 5 as a comment on my post. And I was really flattered because this particular person happens to be Latch. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know Latch very well, but Latch is an icon, a cultural influencer in person, somebody who is credited as the founder of Anti-Folk, which is the movement I mentioned a few days ago, which Jeffrey Lewis and The Voltage are a part of, which Adam Green and the Moldy Peaches and Regina Spektor and a bunch of cool, folky, punky songwriter, one of my favorite genres of music. The founder of it, Latch, it's well documented how he tried to basically revive the folk scene in the early 90s, and he had a long-running Manhattan institution, Lower East Side open mic, and I think he brought anti-folk to UK, and I think he was connected to the Fringe Festival, and I think he lives in Edinburgh. I was so flattered that he came and commented on my top 5 list, and he gave a really cool top 5. I wonder if I don't have it handy. It's on my phone. But thank you, Latch, for leaving that. I think there was God, they were all great recommendations. There was two blues. There was like maybe Kind of Blue, Joni Mitchell Blue. There was a couple blacks. Feel like there was like two blues and two blacks. I'll have to leave his top 5 in the comments. Thanks for that, Latch. And what I thought I would do real quickly is that I would share with you top 5 records and our last 14 themes, and invite you to come and leave your comments, leave your top 5 on any one of the 14 themes. And you can either do that on Instagram or you can do it on the website. I encourage you to do it on the website, tokyo.record.style, tokyo.record.style, and come to the top 5 records section and find one of the themes that you want to list up a top 5. You don't have to give it a lot of thought. Just make up a list of your top 5 records on any one of these themes and leave it as a comment. And eventually I'm going to build out a better system for this, but I want to hear from you. I want you to curate a top 5 list, and I want to go listen to it, and I want you to go listen to the top 5 record lists that are already on there, and I want us to get to know each other and curate music for each other and, be connected through music. So our first episode, I'm going to go through them rather quickly just for time's sake. Our first one was top 5 records for The Heart of Saturday Night, which is Tom Waits reference. Records that you would love to hear on a Saturday night. Your back records, you brought a date home, maybe things are going well and you're going to play some of your favorite late night Saturday night records. The Heart of Saturday Night. Volume 2 was autobiographical. Albums that marked important times in your life, milestones, and so on. Albums or artists or songs that were important biographically. Our third one was a direct pull from High Fidelity, which is where the top 5 format comes from. Side 1, track 1. So these were albums that had great side 1, great track 1s, because the first song of an album really has to capture the attention, or it can say so much about what's about to come. A lot of consideration always goes into track 1. So those were the top 5 records for side 1, track 1s. Volume 4 was cover albums, songs or albums. Not so many albums, I guess, but mostly songs that were covers of other artists. So pretty straightforward. Volume 5 was the 80s records from the 80s. Pretty straightforward. We got some vaporwave action going on there. I think we had some great top 5 lists. Episode 6 was concept albums. Yes, like Tommy's, The Who, Quadrophenia, Sgt. Pepper. Was it a concept album? Was it not a concept album? And more. Volume 7 was a fly on the wall. Albums that we would have loved to have been a fly on the wall at the time of their recording. What albums would we have really liked to watch being made? And this was a really fun one. Volume 8 was live. They're alive records that were recorded live. Live at Leeds, Bob Marley live. I've got Live Dead right here. Killer Grateful Dead record. Killer album cover. And it says like Live Dead on there. I kind of forget how it works, but. And then this is the one that has the big spread. They're playing the concert in Haight-Ashbury. Okay. Next up was the language of music. Music that was not in our native language. Music that we love that we didn't necessarily understand. What are your top 5 records in languages that you don't know? And the end of season 1 was songs about death, a Laura's Dad tribute. This was another rip directly from the movie High Fidelity. Songs about death. What would your top 5 be? We started season 2 with music about music. It was a little bit meta. We got The Day the Music Died appeared on there. What else? I don't know. Bemsha's always got some killer lists. He always keeps the bar raised quite high. My buddy Michael Warren as well. We all push each other. Volume 12 was Heroes, Just for One Day. Who were your musical heroes? Songs about heroes. I actually did Prince's Bat Dance and Greatest American Hero and Waiting for Superman, Flaming Lips, and so on. And then for volume 13, we did summertime albums or songs that represented a chilled out summer vibe. pretty straightforward. And our last one was the color of music, albums that we interpreted really in any way. Songs that could have color in the title, or colored wax, or artists that represented certain colors, and so on. So if any of these jumped out at you, or they all jumped out at you, please go to tokyo.record.style/top5records or whatever it is, and go to any of these lists and go to the comment section and leave your top 5 records. And if you don't make it to the top 5 records, then go leave it on Instagram and let me know what your top 5 records would be on any of these themes. And be on the lookout for a little bit more formalized version of this. I'm gonna build out a system where we can all share with each other, and that we can all use this forum and this format to learn from each other and make better connections through our shared love of music. So I will sign off there. There's still more to say. Tokyo Record Style Day, October 8th, 7 p.m. Cocoa Isle Music Market, Shibuya. See you there. And I will just say thank you again for indulging me for another episode of Tokyo Record Style. These are going to get better, I promise, over time. I'm just, again, still in beta, but I really appreciate you coming along on the journey with me. Until next time, I'll see you at the record store. Bye.